going back, through the years with the Kings, obviously, there's so many neat times. Are there any kind of games that just particularly you remember, or anything strange or unusual?
Well, I mean, I think we're all drawn to dramatic conclusions, buzzer-beating finishes.
Yeah.
The Mike Bibby shot in the playoffs against the Lakers is certainly very high on the list. Tyreek Evans half-court runner with a half-second to go to beat Memphis. Just
people
after
forget
the
the O.J. Mayo shot right before that was incredible.
Yeah. and then, you fast forward, and just here a couple of weeks ago, the Kings, after Russell Westbrook for Houston, drives the length of the floor. Rockets have a 2-point lead. 1 second to go.
1 second to go.
Inbounds to Bielitsa, and Belly knocks down a 35-footer to win the ball game at the buzzer. Those are always memorable. But, equally memorable to me, unfortunately, are some of the nights when the Kings got absolutely blasted, losing by 62 to the Warriors, losing by 58, I think it was, to Milwaukee, or that first year.
First year, 58 in Milwaukee. I always remember that.
And we came home to the Christmas party at the old Wood Lake Inn.
Wood Lake Inn.
The next day.
Yep.
And everybody, we were so down. I mean, we just got crushed. I'm a new broadcaster, rookie season. You lose by 58. I don't know how to handle that.
It's one of those deals, too. We'd beaten Chicago the night before.
See, now I had forgotten that.
Yeah, we beat the Bulls, and and then not that obviously the Milwaukee was very good, but I mean, but they did 58. We weren't quite ready, and I'm like you. I was my first year in the league, and I was thinking, we should never get beat 58. But we
go to the Christmas party at the Wood Lake. Joe Axelson puts an arm around me and just said, there are going to be nights like this, and you have to find a way to accept it and move on to the next opportunity. And of course, we've come to learn and know that. Then you mentioned Chicago. There was that great Tyreek's rookie year. Kings are down 35
in the third
quarter, and they win the ball game.
That's always my
God.
standard, because Grant sometimes will be talking about, that's the game. I said, Grant, always remember, and I think we found out last year. I think Brooklyn, we were up 20-something in the fourth quarter.
That's right. We had 27-point lead late third, 25-point lead going to the fourth.
And got beat by...
who was it?
D'Angelo Russell. Just
went for 27 in the fourth quarter.
He thought he was Michael Jordan there for
and
a quarter.
And he was. For 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And he killed us.
Yeah, it's just amazing, with the, that type of thing where you see such miraculous things. You remember obviously the Klay Thompson 37-point quarter.
To this day, I mean, that's the most amazing thing I've ever witnessed.
Totally agree.
In 35 years in the NBA. We've seen some stuff.
Yes.
But for a guy to score 37 points and to do it the way he did, never missed a shot.
I don't think he even took two dribbles,
He was totally unconscious. I remember one of them, the basket's over here. He's standing here, the ball comes to him, and in the same motion, the shot, he hadn't even looked.
No.
And the shot's off, nothing but net.
Yeah.
He didn't miss a shot in that 12 minutes.
No,
it was the most astounding thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And an NBA record for all time.
Yeah,
so,
all time. I can't imagine how to be beaten, and I mean, people would say, well, how'd that, I don't know how it happened, but I mean, some of them were tough shots,
Absolutely.
He just simply a great performance.
Incredible time. Now, this is a holiday time, but we're recording this podcast. There was early 90s, the Walt Williams days, and the Kings had back-to-back wins.
Yeah, over 50 points.
58 and 56-point back-to-back wins.
Yeah.
Which I don't believe has ever been duplicated in the annals of NBA basketball.
And I think there was a third one in there. I'm pretty sure Denver came in and we beat them like 35.
That I had forgotten.
And having said all that, that team won like 27, 28 games.
So, I mean, I guess the point is you never know on a given night what's liable to happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's... the
blind squirrel finds an acorn once in a while.
I always say some nights, as you know, the schedule will win you some games.
Yes.
And the schedule will lose you some games. I mean, just...
And you always win some you don't expect to win, and you lose some you don't expect to lose.
Right.
I keep reminding myself of that a lot lately.
Getting harder, getting harder, G. Getting a lot harder. But it's true. And I mean, I think for the, just watching some of the Christmas games where, New Orleans goes into Denver and wins.
Yeah. Warriors took care of the Rockets.
Warriors beat the Rockets. I mean,
Yeah.
it's and I think even the weaker teams always have some really good players.
Well, that's why we love the NBA.
Yeah,
I mean, it just, and people say, well, don't you get tired of it? Well, no. I don't. I don't think you do either. And I know that you're like me. We got league pass, and on off nights, you're jumping around. You're looking at 6 different games.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
honing in on maybe a next opponent. You do a little scouting, or it's just an entertaining game. It's because we love basketball.
Yeah, the ball. I always said the ball goes up. I'm still excited.
Somebody asked me the other day, said, how many games are you up to now? And I said, well, I don't know the exact number, but I know it's over 2,700. And I started thinking about that. That's a lot of basketball games.
That's a lot of basketball games. I'd have to think that's got to be the record in the league. I would think. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. Among those who are active, I mean, Chick Hearn had more than that. Ralph Lawler, who just retired this year with the Clippers, he had done more games than that.
Okay.
George Blaha in Detroit, possibly.
Still working, yeah.
But then, it's
a small group.
It's a small group, and it's a lot of basketball. And unfortunately, there've been a lot of losing basketball along the way.
Well, the thing I think too, we talk about a little bit is like in your job, and I would like say I just marvel at it because I love to. If I can't watch a game, you just listen to you, or you paint the game, and so I see it, and that's great. But having said all that, now so many places you're so far up. They've taken radio, and I think it's really terrible, to be honest. But I mean, because I know even the TV part we do, we're doing several up. And it just changes. It just changes.
Totally changes.
Make it so much harder.
The first 25 years, you did every game on the floor in every arena. Now, from radio standpoint, there were only 4 places of the 30 different teams. There are 4 teams where you're still on the floor.
On the floor.
Phoenix, Chicago, Toronto, Detroit. That's it.
Wow.
And in Toronto and Detroit, you're in a second or a third row, and you're peering around people, and you've got fans in those front rows that are in your vision. They jump up, and that blocks a third of the floor from. So I mean, there are some real challenges, and I know that from my standpoint, I call the game differently now than I used to, because I want to be accurate, and I know that there are 2 or 3 times, particularly early in a game, where you're seeing an opponent for the first time, and trying to discern, okay, is that number that I'm seeing an 8, a 6, a 5, a 3? The Washington Wizards. Bless their hearts, but they have uniforms with a band running right through the middle of the number, and you cannot tell. An 8, a 9, a 6, a 5, a 3. It just drives you crazy as a broadcaster. And one of the things that I mean, this is when I get on my soapbox, and the league doesn't. I mean, they don't care about radio. Television generates the revenue, and it's network television, not so much even local television.
Yeah, no, it's network television.
But at any rate, in the 15 minutes when they come out for their formal warm-ups, if the league would just mandate and say, you must have the number of your uniform on the sleeve or on the hip of your warm-up, that would give broadcasters like myself an opportunity. Okay, the guy with the dreadlocks is so-and-so. The guy who's wearing the flashy green shoes tonight is so-and-so. But now you don't know until they peel off the sweats at starting lineups and you get ready for the opening tip.
Yeah.
So it really... And I don't ever want to sound like I'm whining or complaining, because I'm blessed to have the job that I do, and I love that fact. But by the same token, they could make your life as a broadcaster so much easier with the simple little changes.
Yeah, and really, I mean, and obviously they should, because it helps do the job better, and basically, I mean,
it seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, but that's kind of like, even in television, I think so many places now are at least on the second row.
Yep.
And as you said, I mean,
more and more places are starting to move television up.
Television back, because they can sell those seats.
Yeah.
And I guess I get it to a small degree, but I really don't agree with that. I don't think they should. To me, it's like, wait a minute here. A lot of your fans aren't at the game.
Well, I've never known numbers in terms of what kind of an audience we have from a radio standpoint. But I do know that when the Kings are on the East Coast and we're playing at travel time, commute time, when people are getting out of work and going home one thing or another, I know that our audiences are higher.
Right,
and
yeah.
People are listening and checking on the Kings, how they doing. And you want to do the job as a professional, you want to do it correctly. You want to have the energy and the excitement, but it's hard if you have to kind of tone it down because you're trying to identify people, and that bothers me.
Yeah, no,
but that's
just
the nature of the beast, and you have to deal with it.
Yeah. Is there any people always ask me a little bit some of your favorite cities to visit and maybe your least favorite cities? Anything come to mind
Well, I've never forgiven the league, and I think you stand with me on this, for trading Vancouver for Memphis, Tennessee.
We'll never forgive them.
There are wonderful people in Memphis,
Absolutely.
and yes, there's great barbecue in Memphis, but Memphis is not Vancouver, British Columbia.
Nope.
By any stretch of the imagination. I miss Vancouver, British Columbia a lot. I love that city.
It's a beautiful city.
And at any rate, the Canadians, I love going to Toronto. I like Chicago a lot. I love New York. I'm a theater and arts person. I love the chance to go to Broadway and squeeze in a show while we're there. So those are probably my favorites. I'm not a big fan of, Memphis, Milwaukee, Cleveland. Again, great people in the organizations and one thing or another, and they go out of their way to make you feel at home and all of that. But it's just, there's a difference between Chicago and Milwaukee, even though they're only 90 miles apart or something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Those are some that I really. Boston is a great city to walk in, and the culture there, and I enjoy Boston an awful lot.
Yeah, I always say when it's nice weather to walk to Boston Common, or in New York Central Park.
And you're a walker,
and I'm a walker.
This man, he can tell you about places.
I mean, and so and really just with New York, there's so many different and unique areas. So it's all. But for years, I was scared of New York. Being a country bumpkin. I mean, I think I spent 3 or 4 years never left the hotel except to get in the bus to go to the game. And then really the last 20 years, I've come to truly enjoy it.